Welcome to the Genius Way Show with your host, Ben Hummel. The aim of this show is to provide education, encouragement, and insights for people who are on their own personal development journeys. As a psychotherapist, teacher, author, and creator of the Genius Way process, Ben will focus on identifying common challenges to living a purposeful life, and will share valuable psychological and spiritual tools to help you make healthy and empowering life changes. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey friends, and welcome to another episode of the Genius Way Show. I'm your host, Ben Hummel. And tonight we're going to be talking about ways that we're going to be able to shift our awareness and shift our trajectory in life on our personal development journey. So I'm going to say a few words. We're going to say Satori, awakening, aha moment. What do these things have in common? They're all insights. It's about insights tonight. And the insight that I'm talking about here is something that will shift your awareness of your own life to help you kind of either get unstuck, to help you make a decision, to help you understand where you're at and where you want to go, and basically to open up another way of seeing any aspect of your life. And so insight is very, very, very highly prized in our culture, at least, in terms of, people who are on their own personal development journeys. And, certainly in therapy, I am a therapist, and most of us use some sort of insight-oriented therapy to help our clients develop a deeper sense of their self and to gain insight into the inner workings of themselves so that they can make informed choices and hopefully change some patterns that they're not happy with. And so how this is brought about is in therapy, for insight-oriented therapy at least, we kind of help the client to really get to talk about themselves and look at how they process their lives and process their experiences, what might have been held over from their childhood and so forth, and putting all those things together to develop a way of seeing something by looking, a way of seeing something that is a different set of attributes to it, a different perspective, shifting the old story and seeing things in a new way. And so a lot of times these awakenings happen, you can't make them happen, but when they do happen, it's important to know what to do with them and how to work with them. Because the insights are literally only the beginning of a new way of seeing and living. So as we're talking about insights and how to work with them, what's important here to know is that the insights happen not because something's changed, but because we allowed ourselves to look at it from a slightly different perspective. Some catalyst happened, like a therapist or an experience or meditation or whatever it is. Some catalyst happens to allow us to see things from a whole different perspective. And that different perspective really, really changes everything. So for instance, if you're looking at, let's say you're working on your roof, and there's a hole in your roof, and you're looking from down here inside the house and you see a water dripping somewhere. You're looking at the water dripping, you have no idea where it's coming from. Well, if you get into the attic, you're going to get a little bit closer. Oh, where's this drip coming from? It starts there and runs over here. So now I'm seeing it from a different perspective. Now I understand the problem a little bit more. And the closer and closer you get, the more angles you look at it from, you can actually find out where the leak is coming from, where the problem is, where the roof needs to be repaired. And so same thing with our lives. We're so used to seeing things in one direction, from one angle, from our one story that we tell ourselves about who we are, that we never get to see something different. But when we do, that shift allows us to see things in a new way. And what happens when you see things in a new way? what happens when you see from a different perspective? You start to see solutions that weren't there before. You start to get ideas on how to, work with your own life. You start to get insights and things opening up now that are possible that weren't possible before with the old story and with the old viewpoint, with the old perspective. So there are many, many ways of creating the catalyst to shift perspective, but the insight itself, when it happens, how it happens, that's kind of like the mysterious, magical part, because you can't force an insight. An insight, in one way, is like basically like the answer to a prayer, if you want to look at it that way. It's like we asked for something like, let me change this thing about my life. Let me shift this thing about my life. And then all of a sudden, here comes a shift in consciousness, a shift in awareness, and a new thing has happened. I'm able to see this from a new perspective, and all of a sudden, the possibilities for my life and specifically around this issue are suddenly different and open. But like I said before, the insight is only the beginning. The insight is like the door opening or the window opening or the light being turned on. After that, there's a lot more to be done, which we'll get into later on in the show. So I used to be part of a spiritual group, and we would meditate all the time. And we were all meditating to become enlightened. That's at least what I was doing. And in this state of meditation, in our meditation practice, we would have lots of insights, lots of awakenings, lots of different ways of seeing the world, the universe, and the ways of seeing ourselves. And at our meditation meetings, a lot of us would share our insights, and it would be very motivating and uplifting for the rest of us to hear. But what I found through all those years, a lot of the insights ended up just staying as an insight. A lot of the insights stayed just as like, oh, I had this one moment where I saw something new. I had this one moment where I saw the universe as myself, and that whole thing. And what happens after that? What happens after the awakening? What happens after the Satori, the enlightenment? What happens? Well, for most of us, and I can say from personal experience, life kind of just went on. And for the people that worked with their insight and changed what they were doing based on what their insight was, their lives changed. And other people would just take that insight and like, okay, that was an experience, and now I'm going to go on and keep doing the same thing I've always been doing. So again, working with an insight is like realizing why the insight came to you in the first place. It came as an answer. It came as a direct response to something that we're asking for to be able to change our life. And so it's a little bit of an instruction, if you will. So, so most people, they put their insights on a shelf and they expect the insight alone to change their lives. Oh, I had that insight. Okay, let's see. Let's have everything changed now. And it doesn't work that way. That's what most people think an insight is about. When I have an insight, then all the work's done. I suddenly see something in a different way, and now everything changes and my life is completely different. It's not really that way. What it's really mostly like is I have an insight, and I either use that insight to spur me into a different way of working with the world, a different way of moving through the world, a different way that I treat myself, different way that I treat other people. I either use it in that way, or I chalk it up to, well, I had a great experience, and it's going to go on my bookshelf for the rest of my books. That was a cool thing that happened to me. And I can tell a story about it, but it doesn't really change my life. Okay? So I'm here to tell you, as a meditator, as a therapist, insights are beautiful, but we don't know what to do with them when they come. And there is something to be done about it. So an insight is like a seed that you've been given to now take care of. And so you can say, I have an insight, and here's the seed. What a beautiful seed it is. And I'm going to put it over there and hang it on the wall and put it in a picture frame and say, look at that beautiful seed. And I can talk about the seed and everything, but what's the seed supposed to do? You need to take that seed and plant it and water it, give it sunshine. You know, it turns into something. And our awakenings, our satoris, our insights are just like that. We have to care for them when they come. They're not finished products when they happen. They don't magically change our lives. Maybe every once in a while, but in general, for most of us schmucks here on the ground, we have to work with these insights. And there's a way to do that. Like I said, we'll get into that later on in the show. So I'm going to show you a little video clip here. And it's something that you've all seen. And just an example of an insight and the catalyst that brought around the insight, and then what to do with the insight. So check this out. You've seen it. You'll get a giggle out of this. And I'll see you on the other side.
But this sound wasn't sad. What? This sound sounded glad. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet, ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. He puzzled and puzzled till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. What happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say, that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And then, the true meaning of Christmas came through, and the Grinch found the strength of 10 Grinches, plus 2. And now that his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. With a smile in his soul, he descended Mount Crumpet, cheerily blowing hoo-hoo on his trumpet. He rode into Whoville. He brought back their toys. He brought back their floof to the Who girls and boys. He brought back their snoof and their tringlers and fuzzles. Brought back their pantookas, their dafflers and wuzzles. He brought everything back, all the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.
And so you probably know that clip, and it's very familiar to us, but it kind of illustrates the different perspective, the shift made by the catalyst, and then the insight into, wow, this is not what I thought it was, and then the action. What do I do about the fact that I just had an insight and my life has changed because of that insight? I see myself in a different way, and how I actually have to operate in a different way. And you see what the Grinch did. So think about your own life. Think about the times that you have learned something or something has been awakened in you. Has it spurred you into action? Has it literally changed your life? Because that's really what we need to look at here. If your insights are not going that extra step, something's missing, and you need a tool or a protocol in which to develop the insights that you get. The insights that you get are so important, because if you're on this path, and I'm talking about people on a personal development path, which you are since you're watching this show, your insights are gold. Those insights are like the peeling away of layers of confusion, peeling away of layers of misunderstanding, and kind of like a limited view. And as those layers get peeled back, and all of a sudden you see something that you didn't try to see, but it just kind of dawned on you, like the light was turned on. Those things are gifts, and they are very, very, very precious. And like I said before, having one of them is just the beginning. It's just the opening. The door opened, the light switch was turned on, and now it's time to do something about that. When you do something about your insight, when you act upon your insight, when you tend to your insight, like you're tending to a plant or a seed, as it were, your life changes, because you're kind of following guidance from your own interiority. So I want you to think about that. Your awakening is not something that you read in a book or saw in a movie. The book or the movie might spur some kind of awakening, some kind of aha moment. That's the catalyst. But the aha moment, the clarity, the vision is yours, right? And it's coming from your interiority. Like I said, it's coming from a deep, mysterious place in you where you are getting your own guidance. That thing is opening up to you, and you are able to follow the guidance that you got from yourself. So for instance, if you have, like the Grinch, he had that awakening. Oh, wait, Christmas isn't about this. People are celebrating anyway. It's not about all the stuff that I stole. And so what did he want to do? Well, I want to give all this stuff back. I don't want to be that takes everybody's toys and takes everybody's food and celebration and tree. I want to be participating with this. And so he brought it all back. It was his own kind of way of responding to his insight. He gained strength, he gained vision, and he did something about it. Okay? The Who's down in Whoville, they couldn't even care less, but he cared. His life is different, right? And so same thing with us. When we can do something about our insight, when we can act upon the material that gets opened up and presented to us as a gift from that mysterious interiority that we have, when we can act upon that, our lives become different. Our lives change, because we're operating now from the guidance from a really, really deep place within us that's still some kind of mystery. You can call it God, you can call it existence, it doesn't matter. The insight happens. And when you take that insight and kind of like develop it, tend to it, see how you can apply it, it grows. If you have an insight and you don't do anything with it, guess what? Nothing happens. It's a nice story. It's something that happened to you in one day in time. But when you work with it and tend to it, like caring for a seed in the way of planting it instead of preserving it, your life changes. And like with a seed, you end up with something extra, something else that you didn't have before. And that's what's beautiful about this thing. Something that you didn't have before now exists. Okay, so when I wrote the book, The Genius Way, Expressing Your Unique Gifts, in it, I had to develop something that we've been talking about all night that I call the Insight Protocol. And I'm going to walk you guys through it now as we go through. The Insight Protocol is exactly how to work with your insights, how to make your insights more than just an experience, more than just a memory, more than just some kind of cool thing that happened to you one day. The Insight Protocol is exactly how to work with your insights. It's a 5-step protocol, and I guarantee if you use this protocol, your insights will be able to change your life instead of just being something that you put on a shelf somewhere. So we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to present you with the 5 steps of the Genius Way Insight Protocol.
Ben Hummel's writing comes from a deep well of experience, practice, and wisdom. The Genius Way teaches you the life skills you need to find your own unique genius. Summoning Genius helps readers to turn a midlife crisis into an opportunity for personal growth. You can find Ben's books on thegeniusway.com, Amazon, and most online booksellers.
And we're back. And so now we're going to go through a 5-step insight protocol, the Genius Way Insight Protocol, that will help you to take your insights into your life and actually literally change your life by doing so. Okay, so here's where we go. We're going to start with step 1. Step 1 is to acknowledge the insight. And what that means basically is don't just let it kind of, be an experience and then go back and roll over and go back to sleep. Acknowledge it means this just happened to me. It's like someone walking into my house and giving me a bag of gold. You're not going to just go back to reading your book or kind of, watching TV. You're going to be like, whoa, look at this bag of gold that was just dropped here. Look at this gift that was just given. And so the first thing to do when you're acknowledging your insight is to stop whatever you're doing and spend time looking at what you just saw, what you just realized, what was just opened up in you. That light switch that was turned on, the light that came flooding into your awareness, the depth to which you saw something in a new way. Stop and acknowledge it. That's beginning, 101 insights. Acknowledge what just happened. Okay. Number 2 is to find an image in that insight. Find an image. So let's say your insight was, in step 1, I realized that every time I sing in front of people, I feel really fulfilled and all my problems go away and I just feel like I'm exactly where I need to be. Okay, let's just say that's what it was. In step 2, where you find an image in that insight, you kind of remember the insight, you be with it, and you find an image. So the image might be you standing on a stage somewhere. The image might be you in a recording booth. It could be you performing in a coffee house or a large auditorium. But the image is there. So the image from that insight is something that you're going to continually work on. The image is kind of like the blueprint and the symbol of the blueprint of how this insight is going to be changing your life. So again, the second thing is find an image in the insight. Third step, step 3, look for the seed feeling in the image. So let me explain what a seed feeling is. Now that you have the insight, you've acknowledged it, then you have the image. The third step, find the seed feeling. The seed feeling is a feeling that is inherent in the image. So we're going top down here. Outside, inside, inside, okay? The seed feeling is a feeling that corresponds to the image. So when you, and if I was interviewing you and kind of doing this in our sessions, in our coaching session, I would say, okay, you see yourself standing on top of the stage. What does that feel like to you? And you might say something like, I feel like I'm right in the moment, like I'm riding the wave of the moment. I feel excited and I feel kind of happy to be able to present my gift. I'm happy to share this exchange with the audience. It could be a million things, but the feeling in there of happiness and excitement and, feeling like maybe you're exactly where you need to be. That feeling is contained in the image, which came from the insight. Okay. So knowing what it feels like to be in the image of the insight creates much more breadth and width to your experience. There's an image there, there's a feeling or a bunch of feelings that go with it. And so now we're taking our insight and we're like filling it out. We're spending time with it. We are, working with it, nurturing it, seeing what feelings are there with it, seeing what images are there with it. And, we're making it more of a huge experience and opening rather than just one little ray of light, just one little blip. Okay. So then step 4 is to make a commitment or an intention to express that insight every day. So what you've got here in our example, I love, being able to sing. And I see myself on a stage and the feeling of happiness and excitement with doing so. So every day, I am going to make a commitment to be in something that insight was indicating. Like you might want to make a commitment to practice singing every day. You might want to make a commitment or an intention to see where you can sing and maybe, find some way to join a band or a club, venue, something. Go to auditions, whatever it is. But the 4th step is setting the intention or making a commitment to do something about all of the things that came before. The insight, the image, the seed feeling, and now making intention. Okay. And lastly is step 5, which is to make a symbolic action. So what that is for all those 4 other steps that came before that, as you're working with it, you're doing like a little session with yourself to enlarge and realize this insight. What you're doing is to, take a symbolic action. So what you would do is maybe get up in your living room and perform one song or perform a verse. Whatever it is, it's not about practicing. This is about physically taking action to kind of bring all of those steps down into, now I'm doing this with my life. And it's physical. So, you get up and maybe, you pretend that you're in front of, the group of people that you're singing to, or you sing in a way that you would sing if you were doing this certain thing. So it's a symbolic action. Again, not practice. It's a symbolic action to like bring your insight into the real world, like the meat and bones of the real world. That's what the symbolic action is. And so it's a physical action. It's like getting up and doing something, even if it's for 30 seconds. This makes your insight, which just started as some kind of like, some kind of like opening and understanding. It takes it all the way down to, and now I'm acting on my insight. Now I'm doing something from that new place that was just opened up in me somehow mysteriously. Now I'm doing something about it. I'm changing my life by this symbolic action. Okay. That's the first way of bringing it into the physical world. And that's what's really important here. Taking the insight just from some kind of interior experience into your life, where you're actually changing your life from your experience. That's what makes all the difference. That's what the gold is about. Changing your life from your own insight. So, okay, good. So now we've got 5 steps. We have acknowledge the insight. Number 1. Number 2, find the image in your insight. Number 3, see if there is a seed feeling within that image. Number 4, make a commitment to express that insight in your life every day. And number 5, take a symbolic action physically to express that insight. Okay, we're going to take another short commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to share some inspiration about insights with you. And I hope you really get something out of this today, because these are very, very powerful. Okay, we'll see you on the other side.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Sevilla, your host of Pivot Now. Join us on E360 TV every Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Pivot Now.
Having an insight or aha moment is like a doorway opening into a new part of your life. If we truly understand what this opening means, we realize that we need to walk through the door that's been opened for us and enter into a new understanding of ourselves and the world we live in. When we tend to our insights, we allow them to continually develop and to bring life changes that are based on our own inner guidance. So acknowledge your insights and understand that they are gifts that are meant to be opened again and again and again. And that's our show for today. I want to really thank you guys for joining me here. I enjoyed spending this time with you, and I hope you gained something really valuable for your inner journey that you're on every day, I'm sure. So one thing I want to leave you with, one thing to remember this week. An insight is like a seed that's been left for you to take care of. That's what's important to remember. A seed is something that's been left for you to take care of. So friends, until next week, I want to encourage you to stay curious, be kind to yourself, and remember that your genius has something to say.
Thanks for watching The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummel. Make sure to visit thegeniusway.com for the resources you need to help you on your personal life journey. You can contact Ben at ben@thegeniusway.com. And you can follow The Genius Way with Ben Hummel on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for streaming The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummel.